Hello everyone, welcome back as we are creating this amazing e-commerce website, and today's build it will be part 5 where we're gonna create our payment authentication. As you may remember, in our last build we already finished regarding that user authentication, creating user and also having user logging out. So all the functionality we have been done, and regarding that videos, or you can just find everything in the part 4. Also, you can move through the channel playlist where you can find that on that super gear e-commerce project. In that playlist you will find all available videos regarding that project. As you see, 4 is available for 1 to 4, so 5 it will be entered here. So how many part it will be, all will be in this particular tab. So now please do subscribe and like the video if it can be really helpful. And today what we're gonna do, we're gonna integrate the payment authentication. Now what about you want to get back the previous code? How you will get that? The link it will be in the description for that GitHub repo. Here you can see there is 4. If I just hit reload, I should be able to see a 5 also. Okay, let's put the git branch here. See, so main 5 4 3 2. So main is the part 1, then rest of that constant. So if you get all the latest code, just move through that part 5, the code will be available. Or if you want to go part by part according with the video, you can just toggle through all that available repo branches. Now after finishing all, it will be moved through one final branches. You can just go and grab that code from there. So now let's start building our today's application. And if you are following me previously, you need to do one thing after cloning that application. Now if you just start with me for this branch, you need to just check which branch you are underlying. Just check with that git branch. Oops, it will be git branch, and you need to just moving through that part 5, or you can just, if you're in part 4, you can just continue the latest code which we are going to build. Now here you need to give the credential for the Firebase. You already know I have been provided for you. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep my credential and then I'm gonna close that tab. Okay, so our first thing is that to create our payment authentication. As you may remember, we have already user. I already logged in with one user. So let's just, the user is created and also in logged in. Now I need to change that logo here, which we didn't did in our last build. So what I'm gonna do, let's just roll back to our header. And in the header where we are passing that, I believe it will be somewhere here in that constant. Yes, so we have, okay, that's our search, that categories, where we are heading. I believe it should be somewhere. Okay, it's here. So now what we need to do, we need to pass our user profile. Okay, so I will just make that for that icon. I'm gonna just make that current user. So I believe we already get that current user. Did we have that user in the top? No, so we need to grab that current user from our store. So it will be current user. So now we can access that current user to show the available photo of that current user. Okay, if current user dot is available, then I'm gonna just wrap one image tag. Okay, image properties, and if it's not available, that will be just simple icon. Now in that property there will be a source. So the source it will be current user dot let's just go with that avatar which we are having that, and also alternative tag it will be just make that profile image. So what's the error is giving? I think nothing yet. Okay, now what we need to do is that, as we did before, put a class name. I'm going to provide a width of 5, height of 5, and rounded should be full, and also object should be cover. Object cover. It's saved. We should be, yeah, it's already here, but we can just make, you can play through it like how many big you want, or if you want or not. If you want a smaller one, that depends on you. I'm just gonna keep it simple. Okay, so now even I click here, it will just take me to my profile. So that's simplicity we have. Now if we roll back to our cart here, shopping cart, you see the checkout button, we can just avail that. Like if I just make logout, you see the checkout need to sign in to make checkout, so we cannot be able to check out. You can put a button here, it depends on you, but I will just go from my profile and just log in again. Okay, so after login, let's roll back to my checkout session. Now this button is available on that particular checkout tab. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close others, and so now also I'm gonna minimize that so that it will be easy to see. Okay, that will be our button. So now what we need to do, we need to create the other rest of the scenario. How we gonna create that? You see the checkout, we also passing the product, so all the other things we can do it here. So this is our button which is providing for the checkout. If we have the user, we can grab that button. So I will just write simply one on click event, which going to be available that our checkout, like let's make that handle checkout. So I need to call that in top, handle checkout. So let's roll back the checkout. Okay, so first thing first, just I want to make a log here just to see what is providing. Okay, test, and in the test I want to see all the products which we are passing here. So let's just open that console. Okay, that's the console, make it clear, checkout, see test, and all available products are here. So now we can easily toggle through that all other properties. So I think we are good to go to create the scenario. So in that handle checkout, before going further, we need to install one dependency here. So that's my PowerShell here. Let's put ls to see which directory we are in. We are now in the root, so let's put cd client, means the change directory to client. Okay, now here I'm gonna just install one dependency. It will be pnpmi. If you're using npm, just put npm install, or pnpm pnpm install. You can put also install, or yarn, just yarn add. So it will be at stripe. So that's one. Then stripe js. So that's the dependency which will be reliable to provide me to create one stripe promise to create a stripe payment integration. Okay, so I'll install that. Okay, now while it's installing, let's roll back to our Stripe. Let's see what the things we needing here. So I'm gonna sign in with Stripe. Now if you don't have a Stripe, you need to create an account with this Stripe, and then you need to just go through all the formalities to receive the payment. That's very simple. If you cannot be able to do that, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can help you regarding that also. So that is my account homepage here. So as you see in that super gear, so now you can, if in the left button, you can see if you have any account, it will show here. If you don't have, you need to create a new account. You can do that to create. So what I'm gonna do in the payment section, you'll see I already received one previous payment. So now I need two things from here. One is that API key, and one is the secret. That API, one is the publishable key, one is the secret. So in that API keys, you see that one is publishable key which can be revealed, and that one is the secret key which you don't need to show to anyone. So it will be a secret, so don't show to anyone, but I'm gonna use that publishable key. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that, and after copying it, let's just come over in our code. Here I'm gonna just put that in a variable, so it will be const public, or you can make that a publishable key, and I'm gonna just keep that key here. Okay, now you can wrap that in .env file, that depends on you. You can arrange it. So this code is very lengthy project, so I'm not gonna go with to show each and everything in that preferences. You can just make that things to happen. It's very simple to do that. So now we also need to create one Stripe promise. So okay, so it will be const Stripe promise, and that promise, it will be coming from load Stripe, which gonna come from that Stripe. So here I'm gonna just pass that publishable key. So as you may remember, you see the load Stripe is coming at the top. So now let's see how and what we're gonna receive on in that load Stripe key, right? So now let's put that const Stripe. It should be Stripe promise, right? And now I'm gonna lock that promise to see if anything coming from there. Okay, because with that we will be able to create that redirect to checkout and other properties by which we can create that Stripe instances. So now if I go back here and click checkout, as you see, it's passing that promise, so it's not fulfilled, it's unfulfilled. What happened is there we just hit in the checkout server, so in the Stripe server, asking for something, and we didn't wait for it, we just hit and run. So whatever the Stripe is providing, we didn't get it, and just we come back without fulfilling our promise. To initialize that one, I need to create that function as an async function, and here for that load Stripe, I need to await until it's providing me that data. So let's save. And now if I click in here, as you see, I'm getting an event from Stripe, and that event there is almost all the possibilities for the payment and other properties. So from here I need one which is redirect to checkout. I think redirect to checkout. So let's search for it. Redirect to where is that? Yeah, you see, redirect to checkout. Here you can see in the prototype here, and on the with that one we can get to create the checkout instances from this Stripe, and as you see, API key is using the key which we provided here. So now, as you may know, our things is ready. We can now send each and everything to our database there. So let's start working on that. So what I'm gonna do is to create one try catch event. Okay, so if it's successful, or you can put it as a try catch, or you can go with directly in the response. So let's just go in the response. It should be, now you can use the Axios if you feel free, but I will just go with default fetch functionality. That will serve the purpose here. So now here, where we gonna land, what kind of things we're gonna build. So these things, let's just see if we having our config file or not. Did we create any config file? No. So what I'm gonna do is create one config file at the root. Okay, no, we already created config file. Yes, that's our config. So we have that config file and is targeting to our local. So now let's roll back there. It's very simple to do that right now, as we having the configuration. No need to worry about either we are in that local or in the production. So now I'll go with the backtick, and from the backtick I'm gonna get that config. And as you know, if you just roll back to the config, you need to see select server is local, so it will just get that configuration for localhost 8000. If you're in production, which we're gonna do while we are deploying, then we're gonna pass that production API key here also. So now config, after config dot base URL, which is the URL we provided, I'm gonna just pass that null check. Okay, so now I'm gonna roll back to checkout. So that will be our endpoint. Checkout. So in that endpoint we're gonna hit with our data. So after hitting, what we're gonna do, so in that method we need to pass the method which going to be a post method, and also we need to pass our headers, and in the headers we will define that as content type, and the type it should be application JSON. Okay, and after that also we need to pass another parameter which is going to be get our body. So in the body we will make that JSON stringify, so whatever the data as is making a post request to our router, so we cannot send the JSON data, we need to make all the data as string. So we will, all the JSON data it will formulate, doesn't matter whatever formulation it's had, we will make it as a stringify. Then in that stringify we're gonna avail that what we want to send. So in the items we're gonna send our products, so whatever the products we have, all the products it will go there. And in the email we're gonna provide that current user dot email. So that's the email, we're gonna send it there. Now what's it's gonna happen once we are having that response? So as you see, that's the entire response we are created. So now we're gonna just make that checkout session, we're gonna await for response. Okay, response, and after getting the response we will make it as JSON. Okay, as it will send in some parameters, so we need to make that response as JSON. So what's wrong here? Why was giving the error? Does not exist on the type. Okay, I'm gonna make that JSON, simple. Wait, JSON. Okay, now what's we're gonna do is that let's just log our parameter, which is going to be checkout. Let's write that checkout session. Okay, also one thing we need to go forward with that, while we are fetching the response, we also need to keep it as await, so it will just go with that further constant. So now here, as you see, we are having ready our front end. So from the front end, what we did, we just go and keep a connection with our checkout portion over there in our backend structure. So let's go and explore what's the things we're gonna have in our backend. If we roll back to our localhost 8000, you will see that's our backend, which is running in localhost 8000. We are getting all the data from here. Now we need to create another route, which will be a checkout route. So let's roll back to our admin. So in our last couple of video, we already working only in the client. So now we are rolling back to the admin. Feel free to see how those things is working on that both scenario. So in the admin, on the routes, we will create one file, which is going to be checkout.mjs. So now you need to be careful. The name you are providing here, that should be the name also CHE. As you see, I'm making a mistake here, so it should be CHECKOUT, checkout. So now this name, both names should be mashed together, otherwise it will not find the route. So now here what we're gonna do, we're gonna just import, it should be, we're gonna import that router, and it will be from this call express. And also we need to, now here in that particular constant, I'm gonna get another PowerShell as I am in the root directory. Let's cd in admin, and I'm gonna make that pnpmi stripe. So that's the stripe we're gonna install now in our backend. As you see in the package, we doesn't have anything called stripe, so it will install a stripe here. So while it's installing, let's just roll back here. Now here let's put const router. That router should be the router which we are providing here. Okay, and also so if we roll back to our package, you see stripe is already installed. Don't worry about the version you were installed. Maybe whenever you are trying, you're already upgraded, but there will be nothing that much changes. If you are facing any difficulties regarding that version changes, either you can go with that particular 16.1.0, otherwise just contact with me, I'll help you to go through that. Okay, and now we have our router set up. So how we can create the router? So let's just make that router dot, it will be a post, and in the post parameter it will hit on the checkout, and of course I'm gonna make it as a async, so it will be get one request and get one response. So now hit the return. So what I'm gonna do is here is that let's just make a try catch. Okay, so in the try catch we will just go and first, and before starting anything, let's just make that we need to provide that export functionality, otherwise our router gonna crying. If I go back to see my backend, you see it's breaked already. So what we need to do, export default router. Okay, okay, don't worry about it. What it's saying, yeah, we create the async functionality. Yeah, that was the problem. Okay, now cool. Now regarding that routing setup, as you may know, previously we created that dynamic routing. So means doesn't matter how many files you create, no need to set the routing here. It's already passes through that route files.map, which is we are getting from that rig directory sync. So we are pushing all the routes path here, so it will automatically get the route. Okay, so no need to worry about the routing setup anymore. Now in the checkout, in that properties, what I'm gonna do, whenever we are passing just getting a catch functionality, means we have an error with that, we're gonna make res.status, and that status going to be a 500. Okay, now you can just go and search whatever the code properties, what means what, you can get that, and we're gonna get that error, should be error whatever we are receiving. Now if we have something, let's just roll back on that. So we should get that parameter const body, then we should await rec dot body. So this our backend. If we just click on the checkout, particular checkout, we should be able to see whatever is coming on the body. So let's create, click, and okay, we didn't log the body, we need to log it, otherwise we'll not be able to see. So it's the body here, so keep the body, click. As you see, in the body we are sending two things. One is that items, one is the email. So that's the email, and that is the all items whatever we are passing. How many items we are having here in our card? We have 8 items. So if you just go and check one by one, it should be 8 items. So now we are having the body, we are having the items here. So now we can start working on it. And how we gonna work? First thing first, let's roll back to our, we need to provide that .env file, if we can get the env file or not. So how we gonna get the env? Let's just make how we did that. Let's just go in that env file here on that. Yes, we need to provide that Stripe key, and the base URL key also for right now is no need to keep it here. And from where you can get the Stripe secret key, you need to go in that. As you see, that's the key. So I'm gonna copy, I don't want to reveal the text key here, so I'm gonna copy that key. Don't reveal your secret. Publishable key is fine, but don't reveal your secret to anyone. So I'm gonna keep copy that, then I'm gonna keep that here, paste here, then I'm gonna link that one here. Okay, so I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, I got my secret key. So now how we can access that env key here? So as you may remember, previously we already used that in our index.mjs. So here we use that, what you can say, we can just go through that process.env. So let's just go that. So it will be, let's try if we can make that const port equal to process.env log port. So let's see if we can its port is logging or not. Is it okay? I'm gonna just cancel that, this one on it. Okay, so port process.env, and then I can make that port. Yeah, you see the port. So now if I click that process.env, that other parameters, that will also be available here. And how we can do that? So that's the one, we will just grab those, the key which we provided there in .env file. So that's the key, is that Stripe secret key. If I just place that Stripe secret key, so it should be, if I just make like that, if we log that one, you'll be able to see that. But right now I'm gonna just cut that one, not recurring, or I can say that that key, okay, Stripe secret key. So that will be my Stripe secret key. I'm gonna close the console. Okay, so now I have the secret key over here. In the body I have two parameters, one is that items, one is that email. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna destructure that, so it will be that items, also it will be the email. So in that Stripe secret key we have that secret. So what I'm gonna do is that oh, secret, okay, let me just check. Okay, it's just a minor mistake here. So now I'm having that Stripe secret key here. Let's roll back to create that Stripe instances. So in here, before going to the try catch block, I'm gonna go and grab that. And where I'm not taking that to the try catch block, as you may remember, that's in my .env file. So it's in my local, so I no need to make that one to pass the server. So make that const, it should be Stripe key, and that Stripe key, it will be that the key which we are getting that at the top, remember this one. So that's the key, and so no need, if I, that's the, I'm having that Stripe key on that. So what I'm gonna do directly, I'm gonna just write is Stripe. So in that Stripe means I'm gonna get a new, and then I'm gonna grab that Stripe. Okay, so it should be Stripe, and I need to import it in the top layer. So import Stripe from Stripe. Okay, so now it should be from Stripe, and after passing that Stripe, I need to pass that Stripe secret key here, and after passing the secret key, I need to also pass one API version here. So I will just keep it, yeah, is 6, the latest one. I'll keep on that version. Okay, so it now depends. You can go with the latest, you can go with the old version. It depends on you. Just check which functionality is available in which version. So now, as I'm having there email items and email, so now I need to make the item from, I need to extract the items the way Stripe going to check. Okay, so I cannot provide the items I have in that format. Just I need to make the formulation functionality. So it will be const extracting items. So in that items, I'm gonna make await for that items dot map, and from here I'm gonna pass it as item. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna define the quantity. That quantity should be item dot quantity, and be careful while you are typing, because there is no TypeScript checking. Maybe it can be mistake can happen, so you need to be careful to check either is working or not. And for the price data, so in that price data, I'm gonna pass one currency. Let me see that. Did we make any mistake here? Okay, let me just go here in that quantity. Okay, there is one minor mistake here, because as you see, we need to return on that. Then in the object, we need to pass the return item. Okay, so quantity should be item dot quantity, and after that the price data, it should be within an object, and then that one currency should be USD. And after providing the currency, I will also pass that unit amount, and that amount should be item dot discounted price. If I roll back our type in the client sector, let's see what's the name we provided. Yeah, discounted price. So that will be that key here. So discounted price into 100. And why we are putting 100? Because it's a USD, so we need to destructurize to pass the cent value. So if like $1, 1 into 100 means 100 cents. So if like I have $100, it will cross check with 100 into 100 cents. So we need to pass that in at the lower value for the cents value. So we need to keep it as 100. If you're using different currency, you need to, like, if you're using that Oman Real, which is going to be 1 Real is 1,000 Vaisa, so you need to make that into 1,000 to go that in the lower value. So in that product data, so in the data, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that name, which going to be item dot name, and also we're gonna pass that description, item dot description, and then images. Now here we have the images as an array of images, so I'm gonna just pass directly the images here. No need to keep any other fancy things. So that's my item is ready to go. So after getting that items, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create a session. Okay, so it will be const session, and while we are creating session, we need to await, because we remember now we are going to start talking to Stripe database. So we need to await till the Stripe is providing any of the data. So await, now we get the Stripe dot, you see the checkout, and then we're gonna get the sessions from there. And after the sessions, we will create a session which going to be a function, and in that function we're gonna pass a different method. So first thing, it will be the payment methods. Okay, so it will be payment methods types, not data. It should be payment method types, and in the types you can pass an array of types. I will just go with the cart right now. And after, we need to pass line items. So line items, it will be extracting items which we are providing, because we modified our data to match with that line items. Okay, and then the mode should be payment. And after that, we need to go through to create that success URL, and that success URL. Now here, you remember we have one config file in our client side by which we are checking either we are in the development or in the production. The same procedure, you can do it here, but you need to do it. Okay, so for right now, what I'm gonna do is that just grab my thing here. That's the same procedure. If you're following me on that, you can easily create that one. So it will be success. Okay, and then if for the cancel also, we can create for, like, if we're canceling that, cancel URL, and that cancel URL also should be cancel. Now after that, we are gonna pass that metadata. So in the metadata, what we're gonna do to pass our email so that it can be referable. So now we are having all the element here. So if we are going, everything is good to go. If we are having the session, means we are getting the data. So now what I'm gonna do, rest.json, we're gonna pass a JSON data to our front end. We're gonna pass a message which going to say server is connected, and then we're gonna make that success as true, or success true. And also we're gonna pass the ID should be the session which we are getting, so that ID should be the ID. So now if everything working fine, we should be return the data over here in as the checkout session. So let's roll back and see what we are receiving there. Or if you just to see what the session is mean, so we can just pass our entire session before rolling back there, just to show you what is gonna return as the session data. Okay, so in the console, if we just do everything properly, click. Okay, now as you see, we are getting one checkout session data. We have message, server is connected, we have the success is true. In the session, you will be able to see all the data. Even this link, if you just copy and paste here in somewhere, you should be okay, I think I got the wrong, I didn't get the full. Okay, copy property path, and let's, oh, how can I copy all together? Should be like that. I don't know why it's missed previously. Okay, there should be, because it's getting all the tackle from the search parameter. So I'm gonna just remove that here, and okay, I'm gonna copy it again. I don't know how it's going. Okay, that's the parameter we have. Why it's not? Okay, what's wrong there? Let me see. Okay, that's the clone. That's the one is making trouble, not the other parameter. I'm gonna cut that. Enter. So if you see, you're gonna see you have a valid checkout session here. Okay, so now even you put success checkout authentication, you will be able to go to in success page, but we are not going to do that one. See, success URL which going to provide with that success. Success, the spelling is, we make the wrong spelling. Of course it will take us somewhere else which we don't want, where we don't want to go. So I'm gonna make that success SU. Okay, success URL should be okay, that's the one. AWS success. Okay, we will not go in that way. So what I'm gonna do, we will go with the functionality the way Stripe is making, feeling better to serve us in these purposes. So what I'm gonna do to create that session, so now to make that, I'm gonna just take a variable to see the result. Of course I'm not needing that one, but just to see. Okay, so now I'm gonna await, and that await, I'm gonna make that, remember we have a Stripe in the top, so I'm gonna make that redirect to checkout. And in that redirect to checkout, remember we have session, so in the session ID we need to provide the checkout session.id. And of course there will be one problem if you send it right now, as we need to do is here to provide only that ID. Okay, not the entire session. So session, so ID should be session.id. Okay, and over here, while we are passing that ID, we can now toggle through that ID. We should be able to grab the result here, and if we having any error, means we have no result yet. So I'm gonna make that results.error. Then I'm gonna just make an alert at the, you can make alert or you can make window.alert, both it will do the trick. So it will be the result dot, and in the result error, if there is a message, it's gonna pass the message. So now if everything is working fine, we should be able to create a checkout, and we should be get our payments here. So that's the first payment, 3580. Let's roll back to create another checkout instances. I click on the checkouts. Now as you see, we are rolling back to our payment 3580. So that's the similar. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back. See the cancel page we are now. So that's the way we can do. So I'm gonna close and change. I'm gonna go a little bit lower amount, so it should be see the changes. So 2150. I'm gonna just go and grab that photo, which is going to be the default payment card for our Stripe payment. Valid month 123 is the CVC. I'm gonna pass my name and the pay. So now after payments, right now it will just take us to the success page. As you see, our card is not empty, even we didn't receive the data in our server. If you go our Firestore database, there is data is not provided yet, and we need to create all the functionality right now, the way we can send data as our order data here in that server, and also we can check our authentication, like our payment is done or not. So that's the entire things we're gonna do. If we roll back here in the payment, it should be available somewhere. Okay, so it's the one result. If we just hit reload, we should be able to see our other results, which is gonna be 2150. That's the payment which we did right now. So what I'm gonna do, create the other properties, other parameter, and to create that we need to go, I'm gonna just close all, and then I'm gonna go our success screen. Here we need to do all the trick. So as you see, now you can go with that to create. If you just roll back here, you can create the webhooks to go and check all the actions, then you can create, but also you can do it from in the success screen. So let's just try and do that. So in the success screen, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna grab 3 parameters for my store. So one, it will be my current user. So I'm gonna see which is my current user, because I'm gonna set the data according to my user email. Then I'm gonna get the card product, because that's the product I'm gonna directly inject to my database, as is already succeeded and is delivered. Now you can go and do one thing, either only you can check the payment is success or not, then you can roll back to just update the payment, like in that normal e-commerce website what they are doing. If your payment is successful, they are just updating one status, means payment is done, or it's in that way they do it. But what I'm doing is here to grab the checkout payment instances. So either if you're feeling no, we don't want to do like that, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to create another video by which the modern e-commerce website just handling the payments as an URL. They just get the payments and that's it. Okay, so we will get the 3 things from there, and after that let me see how we can combine on that. Also we need to get the location. Okay, so it will be const location. It should be passing that use location, so just to see where we are. Okay, now using that location, like if we just make log, just to see what location is providing here, if we just roll back and see, you see in the location we have the path name, the path, and other properties. It should be available also, so we can get all the properties. Now it's just coming with a simple success, but we need to provide another parameters. Okay, remember, once we are coming here, we need to provide also our session ID. In that way we can grab our session. So while we are coming here in the success here over, so after success we need to pass our session underscore ID, should be our checkout session ID. So it should be the parameter which going to provide is coming from the backend, so it will be that session ID. So we need to grab that ID so that we can go and fetch the things that if we don't have the ID, it will take us to that parameter. If we have the ID, it will keep us in that parameter. But before going through, I'm gonna just let you see what is actually doing that. So it should be const session ID. that ID, like if I just make that, okay, that's the session ID. You see, right now we don't have any session ID. We just came here without session ID even. So now we're gonna check the parameter const session ID. It will be new URL search params, and in the search params we're gonna pass that location, the location we have, and in the search, and I'm gonna make that get function. So in that get, we're gonna get as session ID. Okay, remember the key you passing here, you need to match that key accordingly with that key, otherwise it will not give you the things you are looking for. Okay, so now that's our session ID. So now we can just make one simple functionality. So const navigate, it should be coming as use navigate, and what I'm gonna do is that, like we can also go with that loading parameter, loading set loading UG state should be false. Okay, so now I have all the parameters. I'm gonna get to create one use effect hook. What I'm gonna do is that if I doesn't have the session ID, we should not be able to land in that page. Only whenever we have the session ID, means our payment is successful, only then we can create like we can just come here and grab the parameters. Okay, so now how we can do that, we can just say if we doesn't have any session ID, then what's it gonna do, navigate to home. Okay, so it will navigate to home and it gonna check with the parameter which we have that session ID. Okay, hit save. As you see, as soon as we just keep that, now if we roll back to is a success, we cannot okay, we should not be, that link should be expired. Okay, let's just, okay, now if we just try to go and make the success, you see it will not give you the link to go enter in the success page. Only whenever we have the session ID, then we can enter. Okay, so let's just create another success event so that we will be able to get the session ID. Okay, the similar parameter it will follow. Okay, and again, if you're still having any doubt how to handle those parameters, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna try to create another video, go in a very slow motion so that it can be really helpful for you. Okay, what we did wrong, even we have session ID, did we not mention, it's just take us back, so means we doesn't have the session. So let's roll back. Is that's the one we are providing. We have the session ID dot get. Okay, and in the checkout we are passing our checkout session ID. Why, what's wrong? Why just going like that? Okay, I'm gonna create another, and this time I'm gonna just make that one empty. Okay, okay, let me just, I'm gonna put that on empty just to see the parameter why we just blew up with that. Okay, so right now we should be able to go and see the success screen. Okay, we are in success screen, and then we have our session ID. So either, let me see if we can grab the session ID or not. I think not, maybe. Okay, so now if we just click log with that session ID, okay, now so it's not getting the session ID. So let's just pass the location here. So in that location, okay, we are getting one hook. The problem is arising here, so that's the problem. So in that particular tab on that checkout, we need to change one instances. So in the success is passing that session. Okay, it should get to that. It should get to that. So means we are having the session ID, right? So why it's just it cannot save it? I have no idea. So means we are having the session ID. So let's just roll back. Did we save the session ID? I don't think so. Okay. So that's the session ID we are having here. Or how about we can just put that also, just to see. Session ID still it's null. Let me see how we can do that. So that's the URL search params which getting our location. So it should work. Location.search.get. I think the problem, it should be available here on that particular tab. It should be equal. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the thing. I think we mess around. So now if we just roll back and create one, it should be able to see. If we just create one more payment integration just to go and check. So sometimes you need to just go with some of the valid purposes how it should work. So don't worry about it. Just keep toggling on that till it's work. That's the way you will get the purposes. So now I believe this time it should be able to give us the session ID as we are providing that equal sign. Yeah, that's the session ID. So now we should be able to see. Let's just go and log. Okay, object. Now that's the our session ID we are having. Okay, so if you see in the object, now if we pass that, see the object and the session ID. If we just remove that location object, you see we have the session ID. So now if we just reveal our previous portion, it should stay because now we are having our session ID. So our ID is working perfectly. We can now go and grab stars to check the other parameters. So what's the parameters it would be? So if we doesn't have, like if we have the ID, then it can be. So, and also I'm gonna check one else if condition. If the cart product dot length means we have the success ID, but in that length is not 0, then we will not want to do the action. Only if it's bigger than 0 means we have the cart product. So now we're gonna make that one try catch. In the catch block, we're gonna pass a catch method which going to be pass one like we're gonna make one error. So just make that, we're gonna just pass the toaster toast out error, and that error it should be coming that error saving order data. Okay, that's the error we want to just to show. And now when everything is final, like everything is okay, like we will also manage the finally parameter just to pass that set loading should be false. As we are availing the set loading here at the top, we're gonna make it true. So while we are trying that, it should be passing that as set loading should be true, and once we are doing the other trick, the set loading should be false. So set loading should be true. So now what's we gonna do? We're gonna do several parameter. Be careful while you are dealing with that. It will be very sensitive and you need to be very careful. So we will do one parameter should be const order. We're going to create a order reference, and that reference is going to be coming from document, and we're going to access the DB, and in the DB we're going to check orders. So that will be the table where we're going to keep the order, and we're going to make the order according to the name of the current user dot email. So whenever we are passing one data there, it should be available with that current user dot email. What's wrong with that? DB getting the one argument, I think. Okay, email should be available, don't worry about it. Okay, now also you can do one more parameter is that if the user is not available, you can just roll back here. You can put like bulletproof parameter, like to just go and check if it's available or not. So now I'm gonna create a document snap. So snap, it should be await, and then it should be get doc. Now here it will not work. still it will not work, because as you see, that's the things, everything we are doing directly injecting to the use effect. But what we need to do, we can go and make everything that try const we're gonna create inside a function. Okay, so it will be save order, because we need to make our function as a async and await, which we cannot do directly in that, what you call that, in that use effect. So now it will work. So it will be get doc, which is going to be the firebase firestore, and we're gonna pass our order reference. So now after that, what is going to happen? So now if we have that doc snap, means we are having, previously we are having any order. So doc snap is exist, means we are having our previous order. So we will manage one particular tabbing parameter. So if any user having an order already, we're gonna push through that order to that particular user. If that doesn't have the order, we're gonna push injecting the new order, same like we did in that cart product. If the user has a already a product in the cart, what we are going to do, we are increasing the number of that quantity, we are increasing the same quantity. But if the product is not added, then we are sending the entire product. So that's the thing what we're gonna do. If the user has that order, we're gonna pass that order data, rest it will be the same. So now if a user doesn't have the order, so we're gonna await, and we're gonna make a set document, and all the import you need to do at the top, otherwise it will not work. You see the get doc, set doc is all coming from Firebase Firestore. So now in that set document, what we're gonna set is that we're gonna pass that order reference which we create at the top, and in the order reference we're gonna pass one object. The name, it will be orders. Okay, so in that orders we're gonna pass one array. Okay, array of order. So first it will go in the object, so it will be user email, that should be the current user. It will be current, what we have that user. So user email, current user email, and after that the payment, we're gonna pass that also payment ID, which is going to be the ID of the session ID which we are rollbacking at the top. And now order items should be the items of the cart product, we're gonna pass entire cart product there. And the payment method, right now I'm gonna just pass that as a constant method, keep it as a constant, but you can make it as a dynamic way. If you feel free to give and explore a bit, you will be having the ability to make that. So what we are doing here, this function is coming, when it's coming, if document doesn't exist, then what is going to do, it's creating a new one. So that's create a new document. But what if the document is available? So now if document available, what we're gonna do, document exist, we're gonna just update the order items array. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. So like if we have the documents, we're gonna make that update documents, update doc, we need to import also. And here we're gonna pass also that order reference, and in the order, after passing that order reference, we're gonna pass that method. So in the order, see, we are only handling the orders, nothing else. See, that's the only we are passing. So this the table we're gonna handle, we are gonna just update the orders, and be careful while we're passing that. If you're making a mistake of that the name, it will collapse. So I'm gonna make that array unions, so array union, and in that array union I'm gonna just merge the array. So I'm gonna merge that user email, it should be just, we can pass the similar properties, it's gonna merge with that, no worries for that, or you can just simply go and pass the properties. So now what it's going to do is that user email should be the current user.email, payment should be the session payment ID, session ID, order items, cart items, and now we're gonna pass another parameter, user ID should be current user dot ID. Okay, so now we should be able to do the trick, and our payment should be saved in our Firestore. Now what it happened after passing those parameters, we're gonna show a message toast.success, which is going to say payment accepted successfully, and what you can say, order saved. And after that we will make that receipt our cart, so our cart should be empty. And now this action should be happen whenever the session ID going to be changed, whenever the navigation going to be changed, whenever the current user is going to be changed, whenever the cart product is going to be changed. All that action should be called, and it will still not work till we are providing our function to run. So it will be, we need to pass our save order function here. Now it's gonna go and do all the tricks once we are landing here. But before going further, we're gonna just go and grab those parameters. First thing first, instead of that div, we're gonna pass that as container. Okay, so in the container I'm gonna go and grab two parameters. What it's going to be do is that if I have the loading instances, I'm gonna just go and pass that loading. So we have that components. And now I'm gonna pass a div, like if no loading is available, what is going to say. So in h2 here, if loading is available, it's going to say something. If it's not available, it's going to say something. So if loading is available, it's going to say your order payment is processing. And if loading is not available, it will say that your, let's say, payment accepted by supergear.com. Okay, so that's it. Now you see, no loading available is accepted by Supergear. So let's just put a class name over here. Should be min height should be 400 pixel. Okay, 400 pixel, and then flex should be in column, item center, justify center, gap in y should be 5. Okay, cool. Now this h2 we're gonna also styling that one. Put a class name, text should be 2xl, and md text should be 4xl, and then font should be bold, and text should be center. Center. Okay, that's cool. And after that we're gonna pass a p tag, passing a p tag which going to say if loading is running, then it will say once done, and if it's not loading, it will be say now. And after that, now you can view your orders or continue shopping with us. Should be N. Continue shopping with us, UNTIN. Yes, so that's the one it's gonna say. So let's just put a p tag, or I can just make it the similar function. And here I'm gonna pass two parameter, which after that p tag it will just come appear in a diverse manner, where I need to also import the link. What I'm gonna doing is that just creating a simple two button, which one it will be take us to the orders, another to the home page. So now if we roll back here, view orders, we should become in the order. Let's go. So now we're gonna create one successful order again. So let's just go and reveal the categories. Here we're gonna add a few products. Let's roll back to our cart. We can add, we can delete. So that will be 1710. Let's see how much it can avail from there. If any console is running, I'm gonna remove. No, nothing running yet. So now let's make a payment. Okay, now this time once the payment is happening, after successful payment, it gonna do couple of things. One, it gonna give me to a success screen. You see that your order payment is processing, your payment accepted by Supergear, view orders, continue shopping. Now here is the trick and fundamental ideas. If we roll back here, I'm gonna just make a reload for, because we changes a lot of things. So if everything's working perfectly, we should see an orders tab where we will get the orders. So whatever the orders we are saving, you see that orders, yeah, that's here, and you see it's my email. So now you see the orders and the first parameter, the first order. So I think it previous order also it taking here, so I have the two order. Okay, so now I have two order. Let's create another order using the another account. So I'm gonna just log out and I'm gonna make that order as, let's create one user here, should be Jennifer Lawrence, and Jennifer. Okay, also pass a password, and then let's grab this, it's sent. So now I'm gonna create another order with different user, and let's see how it gonna maintain. Is it going to change the scenario? It can be able to separate the user, or it gonna dump all things all together. So that's the things we are going to check. Okay, and login. So now you see that's the order we should be create and separate parameters. What's wrong? It's not saving. Yeah, sometimes it's stacking with that state. Just check with that. So now let's go create a shopping instances. Let's just go with that. Go here, checkout. Don't worry, if you reload, all will be available here, because still it's not a success. It will not go to our screen. Okay, so don't worry about the payment situation here. All the payment is receiving. That's why you are getting the success URL. You see, everything is coming here. So now let's just go back here. Okay, and here this email, don't forget about it, because it's saving the cart item, because we know which user is giving the payment. That's the fundamentals we need to know. Okay, by which user they pay doesn't matter, because we are tracking our user ID, so the card no need to track. So if we roll back to our super gear, as you see, data is already available and it's only one single order. So now if we roll back to our orders, we should be see the orders. Now we have nothing. So in the orders we need to make create some of the parameter. So let's design that order data so that we can see how it can really be look more fruitful. So let's go in that order tab. So orders. Now in the orders we need to grab the orders first. Okay, so first thing first, let's make that we're gonna grab that current user, should be from our store. Okay, and then we're gonna get to one array, should be orders, and set orders. You just state it should be an empty array, and right now just I'll keep the empty array, and also passing that loading. Set loading instances should be false. Now I'm gonna grab one taking that use effects event. Okay, and also I'm gonna put the variable here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the data here. So it should be const get data, and that it will also getting the assign function here. Okay, so now what it gonna doing is there, I'm gonna make that set loading as true, and then I'm gonna make a try catch, and if it's coming with the catching error, I'm gonna just log that one. So it should be data fetching error, and I'm gonna pass the error here. So that's the one, and in that finally I'm gonna make that set loading as false. Okay, it should not be like that way. It should be with second brackets. And now in the try, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass that as a const doc reference. So it will be doc ref, and here I'm gonna just go and grab that documents from Firestore, and then I'm gonna access the DB, and then I'm gonna pass that my orders, and in the orders I'm gonna grab the orders according to the current user.email. Remember, we are saving that user according to the email, so it will be const doc snap. So we'll get a snap for the document, and should be await, and then should be get document to that doc reference which we provided there. And now if doc snap means we have the data dot exist, if it exists then we're gonna do something, else we're gonna do something, and else it should be, we're gonna just pass a log parameter and that gonna say no orders yet. And if the orders is available, what it gonna do, we're gonna make const order data, that should be doc snap dot data, and whatever the data is available in the orders, it gonna provide all the orders data. Now if we just go and make a log here, which going to be order data. Okay, let's see if we are able to grab any of the data here. Okay, make a reload to see. No, we are receiving no data yet because we didn't run our function. That's the thing. So we need to go and call our function, should be calling that get data function here. And after passing that, you see we are having one data, which we are having 4 array of items, the items which we are providing here. So now we can toggle through with that. So before toggling through, let's create several orders for that user. We created for this user 3 orders. So now what we are going to align there, as you see, we're going to create this fashion. So we're going to show the user whatever the items they are having. Now I'm just putting it as a tracking number. You can do so more lot of tricks, either you can do or not, it depends on you, but I will just go with the similar parameters to create those functionality here. So now let's roll back to our order. So in that orders, instead of that div, I'm going to use our container. Okay, should be container, and in that container I'm going to make it smaller so that you can see it properly. Okay, it's a little bit small. I think that will save the purpose. Okay, so now what we will do here, I'm going to remove that console.log because as we are having that data, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass that set orders data should be set order should be passing that orders data. Okay, so now in that container, what we are going to pass is that if there is loading, we're going to pass the loading, otherwise we're going to show the data. So if we have that loading, now you can do one more things. If a user doesn't have orders, what you gonna pass? Of course you're gonna pass that you don't have any orders. You need to go and create the orders, right? So first we're gonna go to create the loading instances. If loading is available, it will pass us our loading parameter, the loading components which we have. And if this loading is not available, then what it gonna do, if orders dot length if bigger than 0, it gonna pass a simple div where you're gonna pass that orders. And if it's no orders means we're gonna also pass a div nothing. Now as you see, this returning order because we have the order. So I'm gonna just do a simple trick here just to pass those variables I'm in that particular div. So this one will be here. Okay, so it will, okay, I need to import the link, it will give error. So now if we have the data here, what it gonna do, if we just roll back to make that with a null parameter, so okay, it will just show that no orders yet, it did not create any purchase from us. That will show us for particular orders for that users. So let's just go and check the orders parameter. I'm gonna remove that null check. So now in that orders, how I want to show the orders, remember we already have a demo, so that's the way we want to keep the orders. Now to create that, first thing first, let's just go here in that div, and I'm gonna make one h2 tag which going to say customer order details, and a p tag should be customer name. And after that I'm going to generate one span tag which going to give us that current user first name, And also you can merge that name once you are sending the data, depends on you. Current user dot last name, so we have the username, and after that we're gonna pass a p tag which just generating that some random text here. Should be 30. What's wrong? Oh, okay, the num 30. Okay, was the is saying valid p cannot be appear as a descendant of p. So okay, you need to make that out of that p tag. It's inside within that. Okay, so now let's just keep a little bit designing fashion here. Max width should be 5 pixel, and I'm gonna keep it in the middle, so it should be mx should be auto. And after that I'm gonna make it bigger so that you can see it properly. So that's the things we are creating here. And also orders, total orders should be also available there. Let's see. Yeah, we can do that. So before passing, after passing the name, I think, yeah, after passing the name we should be getting another p tag, and here we're gonna get total orders, and in the span tag we should go and grab that orders dot length. So that's the parameter should be upheld here. So if you see, we have 3 orders with the particular. Again, the p descendant, how, from where is coming? Okay, that's gone. So this error, you just forget about that. That's coming from that, especially from that stripe. So because our publishable key is it's just parameter, so it's just showing in that way. So don't worry about it. So now the class name text should be 3 pixel, font should be bold, margin top should be 1. Okay, 1 is done. And then for this p tag, let's make it more bigger. So put a class name, and their text should be gray of 600. Okay, and for that span tag, let's see, span tag text should be block, and font should be semi bold. And for that p tag here in that bottom, so for the orders class name, the same parameter we can provide here, should be gray of 600. And for that span tag, it should be as semi bold. Okay, font semi bold. And this one, let's just make a class name, text should be sm, max width should be, let's put 600 pixel, and tracking should be wide, text should be gray of 500, not 50, should be 500. Okay, done. So now we need to start doing this portion. So let's go here, and after that p tag, let's grab one deep, and here I'm gonna get another deep portion, and right now we're gonna make that orders dot map. So which going to be, let's put that orders, it will be order types. And if you're having issue, you can see that order types, whatever the types we are available for the orders. So it will be highlights, items, yeah, that's the orders type, order items, payment id, payment method, and user email. Okay, so after passing that order, so now we can grab that. Let's okay, instead of directly injecting the return, we will just pass that value, and then from here we can grab that return also, because we're gonna check our total amounts value also here. So let's get that disclosure from that headless UI, and here we're gonna go and grab those parameters. So first thing first, let's just go and grab that. If it's open, what we're gonna do, if it's not open, what the things is going to pass. So if it's open, and if it's open, it's going to return something. It's going to return that a value here. Okay, so which let's just pass, we will pass and data, so it will be the T here, it will be disclosure button, this closer button. So in the disclosure button, what we are going to pass is that we'll pass one spend tag. We will get that as a name of tracking number, and here after that we're gonna pass in the spend tag another spend tag. We're gonna pass that order payment ID, so it will be order dot payment ID. Okay, so the order payment ID should be available. As you see, that's the ID which we are passing here. And after that spend, there's two spend tag, we should be providing another spend tag here, and here if it's open, then we're gonna make that for minus icon. Okay, and if it's close, we're gonna get that for plus icon. So that's the two icon. We're gonna just go and toggle through. Okay, hit save. You see, if it's open minus, so it's open minus, and no, like it's not open, it's plus. Okay, now let's go and grab styling these things for a bit, so that to make it looks perfect and better. First, that particular div, make a flex should be column, gap should be 3. Okay, so providing the gap, and here in that div put a class name, space y should be, let's give 6, divide should be in y sector, and also divide should be gray of, like I just put gray of 900. Then I'm gonna get 10% of opacity. You see, that's the tracking line which we are providing here. So now as we did that, let's come over in the disclosure here, and that disclosure, it will work like a div, so as div, and then we're gonna pass that key parameter should be provided. So key will be order dot payment ID, that's the key, because everything going to be having a separate ID parameter, and class name padding top should be 6. Okay, cool. So now let's go in the disclosure button here. We're gonna design a bit here to make it look perfect. So should be class name. Okay, so in the class name flex, okay, should be like that, flex width should be full, and item center justify between, text should be left, and text should be gray of 900. Okay, cool. As you see, looks cool. So now with that, we also can make these things looks better. Class name text which is going to be base, font should be semi bold, leading should be 7, and for that order ID we can make that class name font should be normal, and after that this portion also can go with the class name margin left, okay, should be class name margin left should be, let's say, is 6, and flex, okay, I think this one not requiring, as we're just having to keep there, and the way it's saying here, that's perfect. We don't want to change anything. Okay, now we have our items here. So now the other parameters, that's the DT is finished here. So now we're gonna pass that panel. So before passing the panel, so as you see in the panel, we're gonna pass the image and other properties, but we're gonna get one more parameters here. As you see, if we roll back the items, you see we have the order item amount and total order items count. So the amount we need to calculate, so that's the calculation. We're gonna do it right now here before returning that portion. So how we gonna calculate? It should be const total AMT is should be equal to order items dot reduce. We're gonna just go with the come with the reduce, and let's put the account amount and then the item. Okay, so here we're gonna return that parameter, what it could be and how much it could be. Let's say, okay, sorry, it's not should be in that way. So and reducing, So should be okay. I need to grab it one more parameter. Okay, so now here we're gonna provide that plus, and how it going to be item dot discounted price, and into should be item dot quantity. So if the item dot quantity is available, then item dot quantity, otherwise it should be 0. I think it's going to be work. Why not? Let's see what's the changes. So it will be const total amount. If order here, order dot other items dot reduce, we can get the account amount then the item. So the account amount plus item dot discounted price into item dot quantity should be 0, and if it's not available, we'll return a value of 0. That's it. So okay, product types. Why? Yeah, it's cool. So now we have the total amount. So after passing that disclosure button, we should have that disclosure panel. So after that dt, we should get that disclosure panel, and in that panel we're gonna pass a div parameter. In that div, let's put a p tag, and here in the p tag it will say your order, which going to be this span tag, and here I'm gonna pass a hash to just to modify with that. Should be order dot payment should be order dot payment id, and then we're gonna pass, so that will be our order dot payment id, and also we're gonna make dot substring on that because it's a big id. And here we're gonna make 0 to 20 characters. So maximum it should be 0 to 20. Maximum should be that. And after that parameter, after that span tag, let's go and define has shipped and will be with you soon. Okay, let's see if we are having something. Click, you see the tracking. So all the tracking items is now coming. You see, that's the one which we are creating. So now let's go in that div. In the disclosure panel, we need to provide as, it should be as dd, and also class name. Class name should be, let's say margin top should be 5, and padding right should be 12. Okay, and after that in that div should be flex should be in column, and gap should be 2, and let's put a background here. We're gonna put a, so f4, and we'll go with the 80% of the opacity, and also padding should be 5. We're gonna put a border gray of 200. So it should be something like that, you see. Okay, now we can go and design these things here. So that one, text should be base and font should be semi bold, and for the order id, that id, let's just put class name. Text should be sky text. Okay, so it looks perfect on that, the similar parameter of that we created. So now I'm gonna go and grab the other parameters which going to combine those other things. So let's just, you see, that's the parameter, we're gonna grab it. So after providing that p tag, let's just grab those other parameter, which what we are doing here, you see. So in that div, we are passing that order item count, which are giving the order items the total length here. Then the status paid by Stripe, and also the order amount. We need to get the formatted amount here. Here we are passing the total amount, should be total AMT. Maybe we are, yeah, total AMT we are passing. Okay, not total amount, it should be this one. Okay, now if we just go back to the Chrome, you see, okay, that's cool. So that's the simple things. One more parameters is pending. We need to create those images ground. So what I'm gonna do after finishing that div parameter, which exclusively getting that our, what you call that, that's the orders after that div which we created here till now. So after that, I'm gonna just go and make that order and order items available. Then I'm gonna map through it, map, and here I'm gonna pass that as item, which going to be as product props, and I'm gonna return. What I'm gonna return, simply I'm gonna return a div here. So in that div, let's put the key. That key should be item.id. Okay, so that would be the key. And now what I'm gonna do in that div, let's pass a link parameter. So in that link, I'm gonna pass the image. So once we click on the image, it should be taking us to that screen of that particular product. So now for that, let's see, for that link, I'm gonna go with the backtick. It will land to directly in the product, and also it will pass that item dot underscore id. And now we're gonna define one image tag here, image. Source should be item dot images, and it will go the first parameter here. And alternative tag should be product image. If we come here, you're gonna find lots of bigger images, so we're gonna make that things looks perfect. And to do that, let's go in the div here, put a class name. We're gonna make it flex specs, space x should be 0, so border should be in bottom, and border gray should be 200, and padding y should be 3. And for that particular link parameter also, we're gonna provide some class name, which going to be height of 20, width of 20, and then we're gonna make the flex none, and sm height should be 40, sm width should be 40, and rounded should be lg, and bj should be gray of 100. And after that, we're gonna make it as a border, and border should be gray of 300, and then hover border should be sky text, and overflow should be hidden. So now in the image, we're gonna just make in a constant the similar class name. Height should be full, width should be full, and also object should be cover, and then object should be center. Okay, object cover, object center, and then hover scale should be, let's put 110, and I'm gonna give a duration of 300. So let's scroll back there. Okay, make it bigger, as you see. Okay, cool. So now as we are finishing our link parameter, now we can go and access the other tabs. So after that link, I'm gonna pass another div, then another div, and now providing that h4 tag, which going to get us item dot name. So that will be item dot name, and also that name going to be passing the similar parameter of href. Means if you clicking on the name also, you will be able to go to the product page. So how it going to be happen? If we click here, you see, if I click on the image taking here, if we click also in that name, it's landing me here. Okay, now let's make that in a good option. Class name, it will be flex should be auto, and flex I'm gonna make it as column proportion. Now this parameter here for that h, okay, where is my h4 tag? It should be just passing within the h4 tag. You can do it in that way. Also, I can directly inject the class name here. Let's put a class name, which going to be font should be medium, and text should be gray of not amber, should be gray. Okay, cool, it's working. Okay, now how we can make that ratio. So as you see, that's the div we have been created, and that's the image properties. So this should be coming somewhere here. So the order item, okay, space X should be 6, not 0. Now you can see the gap. Yeah. So now let's just go and grab the things which we have pending here. So after that link, I'm gonna get a p tag where I'm gonna define that item dot description. So in that description also, let's just grab a small design here. So margin top should be 2, text should be a small text, and text should be gray of 900. So that's the description. So this is a similar fashionable way you can create all other properties. Nothing fancy here, just to provide whatever the opt properties we have. So what I'm gonna do to show you how you can achieve that, see, after the description I'm getting another div properties, and then the items from there which passing that quantity, getting that item dot quantity. So the styling changes here, then coming with the prices, and that prices I'm getting with the discounted prices. For all that prices I'm just gonna dumping with the formatted price. And for the subtotal here, we are minusing that subtotal, like we are making multiply with the item dot quantity into discounted price. So that's the discounted price which we are providing. If I save that one, you should be able to see our almost all the parameters is covered. And okay, done. So that's the thing. So now we have the subtotal here 1295. If you just add it one by one, it will add here. So now how many items we have? We have total 3 items. So let's roll back to create one more order. Let's see if it's updating in real time or not. So getting the orders, go in the checkout, and from the checkout, what we need to do is to passing the email, passing the card here. Okay. And done. So it will come with the 4 orders now. So let's go back to view orders. You see the 4 orders. So that's the way you can create with the payment. You can save your data here in the database. As you see, all are updating in real time as you're using the Firestore database. So I think our build is almost finished. As you see, we have our fabric card, we have also our all the parameters is done. So one more thing is available here. This one I have in my live, and everything is working from the live. So that's the things which we need to work on. We need to make these things happen to be appear on live. So we're gonna create that one also, but first thing first, let's just go and pass that one in our GitHub repo so that you can have that code. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass that in the repo and then let you know how you can go and grab that. I'm gonna close all the other properties from here. So I'm gonna close my local host also. So let's just go and reveal one more properties, which going to be, whenever you're gonna pull that code, you will be able to see in that .env file for the admin, there is no secret key. You need to provide your own secret key. And also for the client side in that Firebase, which we are having all the authentication, you will see empty. So you need to import and provide all the parameters. So let's put ls. We are inside the admin cd in our root, or we can just do it from here as we are already here in the root. And also I'm in the branch, I think it's a part 5. So I'm gonna make git add dot, adding everything. Git commit should be part 5 done. Oops, it should be a mistake. Git commit message part 5 done. And I'm gonna make that as git push. So what's okay, I'm gonna make that git push origin part 5. So it's gonna push that one particularly on that part 5 code. So let's roll back to my repo. So here in the repo, you can see I have the part 5 and all the available code should be available here. As you see, that's my last commit. So again, I'm saying in that main, you will get only the part 1 code. 2 3 4 5. So latest it will be the 5, and in our next build, so one more build is pending, one part is pending, which will be the part 6. In this part 6, we're gonna deploy our front end and back end, both one we're gonna deploy in that Vercel, and we're gonna make it live. As you see, that's my front end here, and also I have backend which we deployed. The data is coming from the backend. So these things we're gonna build in our part 6, which will be the last part of this project. And also, if you are having problem to track all the part, let me know in the comments below, that I'm gonna merge all the part all together, then gonna upload a full functional part which going to be having all the parameters which we built. But before that, I'm gonna provide you that part 6, by which we're gonna just deploy the code in Vercel. So now, if this video is helping you a bit, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you are having any preferences to create some more projects like this, also let me know in the comments below. And please do subscribe the channel, which can helpful to create something more on that. So just try that, finish that one, and I'm gonna come up with you on the next